So as you can see, this is the source code for Cupertino. It looks kind of unusual because I use what I call extreme packaging. So there's at the top, there is a workspace, and this is actually the workspace that we opened because there are packages here and nothing else. Everything is inside the packages. So if you can see here, we have 4 executables. That's Cupertino, Cupertino TUI, which is a text user interface. It's not important now. This is mock AI agent for testing, and Cupertino REL, that's release tool that I use to push to brew and stuff like that. So as you can see, everything here is in those packages, and it's all if devs for designated targets. And all of these packages are team-based. So anything that can be refactored is refactored. So let's see here for this is just MCP. So here is protocol and here is even the server part. And then where we use those, we use them, as you can see here, MCP client and MCP support. So we use it like everywhere. And as you can see here, there's a mock AI agent, and there are some release tool resources, search tool provider, and stuff like that. So as you can see, everything is in a package. And here you can see our executables. That's Cupertino, Cupertino release, Cupertino text user interface, and mock AI agent. So that's just in short how it looks. Yeah.
Okay, great. And for the for example, if you can make a little test about communication between the client and the server using gRPC.
Yeah. So let's say here, if we have, let me see. Let's say if we try to search Cupertino search, this is from command line. If we do Cupertino search, source, human interface guidelines, navigation. Let's see what we have. So we kind of have to wait for a while. We can make this bigger. And then it's now, and you can see a lot of text has been pasted. And this is exactly the text that the user AI agent sees. So maybe we can just paste it here and then see it in some. Doesn't matter. Maybe so. If you can see, there are a lot of answers here. And this is for navigation. So what the Cupertino does basically, it gives you when you just ask it a question and you ask it to ask like human interface guidelines. What it does, it basically gives you the answer, but then it gives a lot of tips. Why? Because when the MCP agent starts, it kind of makes a handshake with the tool. And that handshake is, this is what I have. This is what I can do. But the AI agent forgets that, and that's why you need to give it tips. So this is like maybe easier to read. So it's kind of like Markdown, but not really. So you can see like navigation and search, column views, and then you see like best practices, and then web views and best practices. And then you see, so it gives tips all the time so that the AI agent remembers what, and so this is the most important part. So other sources. So once it kind of gives you what you asked for, it gives the AI agent this. So also in Apple documentation here, also in sample code, also in Apple archive, and so on. So because the AI agent is really forgetful, this I find to be very, very useful. And for us to kind of see how it works, maybe we can use this. So if we do something like this, and now we run mock agent, and so you can see server started and request JSON, so it kind of starts. So what happened here? Where did we start? There's a lot of text here. Yeah. So where was it? Yeah, starting MCP server. So server started and waiting for initialization. Client server. So this is like the JSON.
Just an
Initialized. Yes, yes. And now is initialize response. So you can see now tools list. And now here, you see like all of the tools that are there, and then it shows you the received JSON, and then here you can see tools list. So there are a lot of tools: search, list framework, read document, read samples, read sample one, read sample file, search symbols, search property wrappers, search concurrencies, search conformances. So this is how they kind of communicate.
yes.
Initialize, the other said, okay, what do you have to offer? So here is basically what it has to offer. And then it says found tools, 10 tools, and it kind of shows you the tools and everything. And here is like, and now it's searching for Swift UI. And this is basically JSON RPC, the raw response. And then it says
Yes.
received the same one. So you can just do this by calling the mock agent. And so here is like resources list, and it will list all the resources which you can then receive. And this is just one error, which is great because it would have gone on and on. So the way I like to present it is on GitHub, because I really love how the GitHub works when it comes to reading markdowns. It's really great.
Great.
So this is, let me make this bigger. This is the way that the documentation works in my case. So here we have documentation, and here we can go to the commands. And if you can see, each command has its own respectful folder. So clean up Dr. So if you want to know anything about command, you just come to that folder, and you see, oh, it has options. Okay, and here it's like these are the options, and now you can see each option. Oh, dry run, what does it do? So this way, if you want to call Cupertino, you can have this in one window and just look at all the commands, or let's say fetch, which is a downloading a Swift Evolution proposal. And you here have option, and you see the type. And so this is not an option, this is the type. And then it says all archive availability. And as you can see, fetch type all, which means type is an option. That's why we have two minuses. And these are the parameters of a type. You see? And authenticate, as you can see, is another option. That's why we have minus minus. So I tried by this folder structure to make a self-documenting folder structure for people not to have to use help.
Okay.
So fetch, or let's say search. Search is the biggest one. And it has arguments and options. So we can see like query, Cupertino search. Okay, this is a query. That's the query you ask. Okay. But there's also an option. Oh, so many options. And so we have an option source. So source Apple Archive, just like we had HIG before. Source Apple Docs, source Apple sample code, and so on. And here we have like format. You can format text, JSON, and Markdown. Framework. This is this is a framework which is not the same as the source. Include archive, which means you can search but also include archive. And all of this language, you can here see Swift and Objective-C, min iOS. So here these are the options, min macOS and stuff like that. And then search debug, which is, if you move the database somewhere, for some example. And the serve command is not important because it kind of, it gets called, let me see, Cupertino, and you go to the README file. This is the README file. And if you can see here, we have, this is just this. Yeah. So if you can see here, when you configuring Cloak Desktop, you give it argument serve. So you never have to call Cupertino serve. This will call the serve on command. But if you don't want to, you can just use Cupertino with as a command line. So just use it as you would use any any command on Linux or Unix. So yeah, this is the way I love to look at the documentation. You go into docs, and artifacts are just, folders that are there. So it kind of tells you what is in a folder. These are the folders that are saved on your in your Cupertino installation. So it's so here you can see all the folders, and then binaries. It kind of gives you those binaries. So those are then commands, which we just talked about, and then images. This is just one image, and then the tools: list framework, read sample. So you can see okay, so this is list framework. So this is just a tool that you can call Cupertino list framework. So instead of search, you use this, or Cupertino list samples. But that would mean all the samples and all the tools. So this is just for MCP to use. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to share.